Good, how are you?
We had our meeting back here today, so.
That's right. Hey. You got a good area.
Putting it out there.
You can see me squirming. Good evening. How we doing? We'll start soon. This is a 3 minutes of silence that always.
Right here, just on the one side.
Maybe you should have had her come to work when you stepped through it.
Yeah, I know.
All right. Go ahead and call the meeting to order. We'll start with the invocation by Pastor Lisa Urwick. Thank you.
Opportunity. Heavenly Father, we thank you for our community. We thank you for Rensselaer and for all of these who serve on the council and in other areas of leadership in our city. And we ask your blessing. We pray, God, for wisdom and discernment and truth. And we pray, God, that you would continue to intervene and bless our town. And we thank you for it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we're going to start with the roll call.
Mayor Jeff Phillips.
Here.
Clerk Treasurer Shelby Keys. Here. Council members Russ Overton.
Here.
Kevin Arnold.
Here.
Noel Weiser.
Here.
Jeff Rayburn.
Here.
And Ernest Watson Jr.
Here.
City Attorney Todd Sammons.
Here.
Building Commissioner Josh Davis.
Here.
Cemetery Caretaker Joe Eppinger.
Here.
Fire Chief Kenny Hahn.
Here.
Police Chief Matt Anderson.
Here.
Utility Office Manager Heather Smart.
Here.
Lead Line Foreman Garrett Welker.
Here.
Park Superintendent Heather Hall.
Here.
Street Water Sewer Sanitation Superintendent Bryce Black.
Here.
And Gas Superintendent Todd Wilson.
Here. All right, Council, you reported the minutes of the last meeting. Would you like to move on those?
Make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
There was an error that I'd like to address.
Okay.
Under the determination of the petitions to vacate portions of Prairie Street and unnamed road, it says the motion to terminate the petition failed by a vote of 3, 4, and 3 opposed. It should be 2, 4, and 3 opposed. So I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as amended. Sort of.
All right, a motion and a second to approve the minutes as amended. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All right, council, thank you. This is a time that's reserved for citizens' comments. If anybody would like to address the council, now would be a good time to do so. Hearing none, we'll move into the public hearing to vacate a private right-of-way in Austin Paxton Second Edition. Do we need to move to close the meeting? Council?
I'll make the motion to close the meeting.
Okay. And open the public.
And open the public.
All right. We can do it all in one motion.
Yes.
All those in favor to close the regular meeting and open the public meeting to vacate the right-of-way, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, council. Josh, do you want Kim or Gina to step up and?
Yeah, I can brief and then you can let them take over. Okay, so this is Austin Paxton's second subdivision. This is the north side of Vine Street as we head west of town. There we have a county ditch that butts the property here, and that's part of where we're looking to close this alley. I'll zoom in here a little bit. This is the plat map here. Kim and Eugene have just come in. They just purchased parcels, and the Plan Commission amended the plats. So they purchased some ground from Brandenburg, which own the property to the east and north of this area. They did purchase their house. As we can see here, the area we're talking about is this alley that I have highlighted yellow in here. Their house and property is directly south of that, and they did also purchase the property on the west side of the ditch to the north of that as well. So they own both sides of this. It does extend a little bit to the west, to a separate parcel that we sent certified letters to. They were notified of the hearing tonight. There are no utilities or anything in this area. With the ditch there isn't any way to access this public right-of-way currently coming from the east. So this is kind of a dead-end little alley that they're asking to have vacated to them.
All right. Anything you guys want to add to that?
No? Good.
Okay. Question is, do we need to close the hearing on that, or?
Well, you need to offer to the public, see if there's any comments in respect to the hearing, for or against.
All right. So now, if there are any comments or objections to the closing of the alley that has been described, we'd be happy to hear them.
I do have one quick question. Josh, the little strip to the east, that is owned by the Wrights as well, correct?
Yes, they own all the way to the ditch there, yes.
Hearing none, attorney, what's our next move?
Yeah, I think I'll answer your question. Close the public hearing, and then you can bring it to the council for a vote, motion and a vote.
All right.
Make the motion to close the public hearing.
There's been a motion and a second to close the public hearing
Second. And open.
and open the regular meeting. Thank you.
And second.
And then, want to second it? All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Now, council, does somebody want to bring this up to vacate the public right-of-way that's been named?
For a motion?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to vacate the alleyway.
Second.
Been a motion and a second to vacate the public right-of-way in the Austin Paxton Second Edition. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right. Motion passed. Thank you, guys.
Mayor?
Yes.
I just wanted to comment. I will be bringing this to you in a formal ordinance for you to
Sign.
sign it, and then we gotta get it recorded, so.
Okay. All right.
We have no doubts, Josh.
Next on our agenda is Art and Alley, the Prairie Arts Council. Barb, you have the floor.
Okay. We have the Arts in the Alley this year scheduled for June 22nd. It's a Sunday from 10 to 4. And last year we had the Van Rensselaer closed from the alley to the corner of Kellner. And we'd like that again. And if possible, since it's a Sunday, could we have Kellner closed from the corner to either the end of the shelter or the whole road? Because we're planning on, having a car show also, and we have that. And we've also reserved the park, so we do have the park for that day.
I'd make that motion to close Kellner Street.
Yeah, because the bank's not open, so since it's a Sunday, I mean,
I would think
we hope that would work, but.
I'd make that motion.
There's been a motion, a second, but just checking with police and fire. Either chief have any issues with that on that Sunday?
We can make it work if needed.
All right.
Not having a problem with it.
All right. All right, we have a motion, a second to close Kellner Boulevard on June 22nd from what time do you want?
It's scheduled from 10 to 4, so probably 8 to 5.
Probably closer when first shift comes in. It's always better, I think.
Yeah, so they can put barricades up.
Yeah. Good. All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right. You're welcome.
Thank you.
We're looking forward to it.
We are too.
All right. Next is our Reach Alert System proposal by Ken Weber.
Good evening. Just so you know, my name is Ken Weber. I am the COO of Reach Alert. And to give you the 2-minute elevator speech about what Reach Alert is, I work for a couple of Fortune 500 companies, and I had some very intelligent computer programmers come to me and say that they wanted to develop some software packages and they needed some business acumen. So I, being a totally non-technical person, provided that end of the business. About 15, 16 years ago, we were sitting in a meeting, our phone kept ringing, and we didn't know what was going on, but it turned out there was a shooting on the campus of Virginia Tech, and a lot of our clients had called us and asked us, they had come to the realization that they needed to be able to communicate with their students, with their employees, with their residents in a very short period of time, and what kind of program do we have? The reality was we had nothing. But we looked out in the market and we found 2 programs that were very cumbersome, and you had to be an IT professional to be able to manipulate that, and they were hundreds of thousands of dollars. My guys said that they could do better, and so we built Reach Alert. And to this day, our clients consist of hundreds of cities and counties, property management firms, hospitals. We serve everybody from Marathon Refining to Special Olympics, to the Locust Grove Baptist Church in Cedar Creek, Kentucky, that has about 20 members. So we kind of span the whole spectrum of what's available out there. We started working with AIM, Accelerate Indiana Municipalities, about 8 or 9 years ago. We're the only endorsed provider of alert and notification services by them, likewise with the Kentucky League of Cities and the Tennessee Municipal League. And so the bottom line is we give you the ability to immediately communicate with your residents about any host of subjects. We built Reach Alert to be an emergency alert service. We have found that for our municipal clients, for every one true emergency, they probably send out 400 or 500 more messages that don't rise to the level of an emergency, but it's something like, it snowed last night. Don't park on these streets so that the snow plows can get through. We have a broken water line and a boiled water advisory. I was in Tompkinsville, Kentucky on Saturday. Several months back, they sent out an alert saying that if you lived within a half a mile of the water treatment plant, you needed to evacuate the area because there was a chlorine gas leak. There is really a limited ways of being able to communicate with your residents. When was the last time you listened to the radio? And if it's the newspaper, it's already too late. So with Reach Alert, people can register to get messages. They can get text messages, voice calls, emails. And you just type up a single message, you can send it out, and those people will know within a matter of 2 minutes of what the situation is. So if it were something like a gas leak, they would know that to evacuate the area, and if they were outside the area, they would know not to come into that area and into harm's way. We serve right now about 105 municipalities throughout Indiana, and I always have fun kind of driving to where I'm going and seeing the cities and the towns and saying, okay, that's a client, that's a client, that's a client. And I think the last one I saw was Delphi, and they've been with us for a couple of years. But anyway, that's what our service does. And people who use it include the utility department. We have a broken water line. We have a gas leak in a certain area. The police can use it to say, avoid this area because there's a traffic accident, or we're shutting down the roads for the car show, whatever. The fire department might put out a message saying avoid this area, and you might experience low water pressure because we have a structure fire going on. You can imagine the different folks who can use this to be able to communicate with people. You can even say that, don't forget, this Monday night at 6 o'clock is town council meeting, and you put that out there for the people to know what's going on. So you can see that a lot of the things that Reach Alert is used for don't rise to the level of a true emergency. But people always want to feel like they're in the loop and there's transparency, and that's what we provide. Any questions?
Just a couple. Do you have a policy that we could look at, a sample policy that on how we would use the system?
Sure. And one of the things we were talking earlier is I would give you names of some of the other cities and towns that use that, so that you can talk to them about that and see how they use it too.
How much training is involved with?
It's about a 15-minute training session. One of the things I told these guys was, I am not a technical person, and if I can't understand it, nobody else is going to be able to understand it. And within 15 minutes, you would know how to use it.
When you see your cities and towns that are using it, is it controlled by the police department on some of those policies? I know you say it's open up to everybody, but.
One of the things that is interesting is it forces a dialogue. Lawrenceburg uses it. When they have an active shooter, Reach Alert is what kicks it off. But they've done all the planning and everybody knows what their role is. And that just kind of initiates the plan of action. So you almost have to sit down. It's interesting because my son is an attorney. And one of the things that they would say is, avoid this area because there is a down power line. And the attorney who was sitting there said, you can't say that because that kind of is enticing people to come and look at it. So what you can do is you develop templates. And so if something like that happens, then you're able to, whomever sends that message out, there is a template on that particular thing that you all have drafted yourself. And so you've already agreed on the verbiage. And if it's a true emergency, like an active shooter, they just pull up the template, click on it, hit the send button, and within 30 seconds, everybody who's on that team knows what's going on.
Very nice. And simultaneously, right away, there's no delay?
Well, we immediately send it to AT&T and all those folks. And they typically deliver it very quickly. And that being said, I was talking to my wife the other day and asked her why she didn't respond to my text, and all of a sudden her phone dinged, and it was like, I sent that 3 hours ago. But so that is rare, but it does happen.
Do everybody need to sign up for this?
What happens
I saw
is
it looks like you can customize how
you can do it in a number of different ways. We encourage people to register. Just go online and register. And I have people like my mother, who is 81 years old, who does not have a computer. She has a flip phone. She doesn't do text messages, so she can't register. Well,
so you answered my next question there. So.
We provide a letter that can be shared with them, and then they can call our toll-free number, which rings in Louisville, and we will answer that, and we will register them within 60 seconds so that the next time you all send out a message, their phone will ring, and it will say Rensselaer Alert, and it will read the alert off to them. And for good measure, it does it a second time, and if they're not there, it'll leave a message on their answering machine.
Sorry, Council, I feel like I'm the one asking a question.
That was one of my questions, so thank you.
I got supervisors, do you have any questions?
Well, they always look at me. So when, just say we get the system, and whoever gets trained on it, please.
I see it.
Because you're here on it. So, say they push that button, so it goes to, Louisville, it goes to the,
It goes immediately to the telecoms.
okay, so it
Yes,
goes,
there's no, I mean, all you would do is, this is our website, and you'll see in the top, up in the white band up there, it says My Account, Sign Up, Log In.
right,
You had already clicked on Sign Up, and you would have created your account. And all you do then is click on Log In, and it takes about 3 seconds to log in, and then you just click on a button that says Create an Alert, type it up, hit the send button, and it's gone.
one for everybody
Yes, sir.
that's signed up.
Correct.
You can set parameters of who it's going to by an area.
You can send messages to the whole town. You can go in and say, all we want to do is talk to this one street. All we want to do is talk to a couple of addresses. You can create as many groups as you want so that people can say, I want parks information. And so whoever runs the parks can put out, events in the park. I don't want the park stuff, so I can just opt out of that. So people can pick and choose what they want to get messages on.
Oh, that's even nicer. Nice. Well, I like the fact that we can create a template and just have it ready to go. That sounds really nice.
And again, it forces a dialogue. What do we want to talk to people about? If there's a shooting, what do we do? If there's, a bomb threat or something, how do we want to handle that? So and I will tell you this too. I live in a town that's smaller than Rensselaer. It's got about 400 or 500 households. One morning, about 7 o'clock in the morning, we got a reach alert that said there was a break-in of cars and garages on Cardinal Drive. Okay, 10 minutes later, people are looking out their back window, and there's this guy running through the backyard. So he put out a second reach alert that said he's wearing red pants and a white shirt. 10 minutes later, they said, we've captured this person. However, when we were chasing him, he had a gun and he threw it in somebody's yard. Would you please look in your yard? 10 minutes later, they came back and said, we've apprehended the person, we've recovered the stolen merchandise, we found the gun, and the whole situation's over. Now, the only way that they had to communicate that previously was in the quarterly newsletter that would have come out in March that said, way back when we had an issue, make sure you lock your cars. Well, in this way, you're able to do it in real time. We've had autistic children wandering away. They put out a message, and within 2 to 3 minutes, they locate that child. So that, again, that could be elevated to an emergency, whereas some of the other things aren't.
And you're endorsed by AIM, that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that every time I'm a penny pincher.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
We know that there is nobody in the country who can match our prices. One of the things we did about 17, 18 years ago, we did some special programming for AT&T. And they came to us and they said, okay, we can pay you $25,000 so we can give you a special rate on text messages. I had no clue what a text message was. My IT guy said, take the text messages. So we know that our pricing is better than anyone's. And there is a 3-year contract. Reach Alert is only 12 months. We guarantee the pricing for 3 years. We just don't lock you into that long-term contract. And then one of the things, Jeff attended an AIM conference in Fort Wayne a few months back, and we put on a presentation. And I was there to provide support, but it was actually led by people who are using Reach Alert. Because I'm a salesperson, and I'm not going to necessarily, I'm going to paint it all rosy and everything. But they basically said, this is what we're using it for, this is how we're using it, and this is how easy it is to use it.
Have you seen to the point where it gets overused, that we may other?
We would caution.
Oh, it can.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have some people who, we have a lost dog.
Yeah.
And and one of the things that I thought was kind of silly was Farmer Brown's cows got out. Well, when you go across a hill and you come on the other side and there's cows in the road, okay, that's more than a lost dog.
Yeah.
So again, you have to decide what you all want to talk about.
Or we set up a policy
Yeah.
for parameters. Plus, we get a discount as being members.
Yes, and I think I've provided that information for you. And one of the things I think I did, yes, and I can't remember, we brought 14 new clients on in the last couple of days. When the weather is really bad, that's when you really need, it's like insurance. You don't need it until you need it. And then, so we've been kind of busy with that, but yes.
Is there a limit on how many people can, how many administrators you have
No.
that can send out
You
messages?
can have as many as you want. And then one of the things that we do too is we charge based on the number of households. So in my household, I get text, voice, and an email. My wife gets text and an email, and I have 2 adult sons, and all they do is text. So that's 7 points of contact, but it's one household. And then what we encourage is if let's just say my mother lived here, I would register, even though I don't live here, so I could call and say, Mom, did you know that there's a broken water line and you got to boil your water? That doesn't cost anything else. It's only based on like your tax roll and things like that.
It would be within our households, within our corporate city limits.
Well, yes. And if I live outside, I can still register. And we don't care about that because, you know, we have Lawrenceburg, Aurora, and Greendale. They're all right there together. And so I live in one, I work in the other one, and I shop in another one. So they register for all 3. We don't count them in the billing because they don't have a household in that city.
Yeah, we have subdivisions that are just outside that probably will want.
And I would encourage them to register. You just say, that's not part of our, you know, tax base or whatever. And we want them to be in the loop.
To ask a question to you, with dealing with the county, you know, they got that little alert that they sent out. Is that, are we thinking about working with the county with this, or is this strictly for us?
I talked with the sheriff. He's reluctant to call his people out if it's a specific city incident, like what we have with the water main. So we probably need to work separate from.
Yes, and we just brought Bremen, which I don't know where Bremen is.
I know where it is.
But they just came on board, and they said that the county had Nixle. And then they called Everbridge, who purchased that, and they said, oh, we don't even support that anymore. So the entity that's using Nixle has not used it for a couple of years because it's not supported anymore.
Yeah, I think the sheriff's planning on getting rid of Code Red, which is one of them that they've gone with too.
We've replaced Code Red in a number of instances.
I bet you did, looking at the price, so, yeah. What's our next step?
Well, you all just decide. If y'all want to do it, y'all can talk about it. And, I mean, we've had people who have voted right then and there, and then we've had other people who say, give us a couple of months. So whatever works best for you folks.
I'm comfortable.
I'll make a motion that we accept the proposal.
Second.
And a motion and a second to move forward with the Reach Alert system. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone nay?
Aye.
You're on the nay?
I'm on the aye.
Aye, all right. I know. I nay, E. Mr. One.
Well, I guess aye.
All right, unanimous.
Okay.
We'll be in touch with you soon.
And like a good salesman, if you could close, just shut up and leave, and I'm pretty sure I'll stop. Thank you all.
Thank you much again. All right. Next is our Peerless Midwest maintenance proposal. Bryce?
Thank you, Mayor. Last fall, I brought high service number 1 to you guys to have it rebuilt. We gave it some time, made sure everything checked out with it. The pump is running fantastic since we got it back, and just wanted to wait until we rolled into the new year as well. So this is a proposal to go ahead and move forward with rebuilding high service pump number 2 at the water treatment plant. It is for $26,368.
Council?
I'll make a motion to move forward with the maintenance proposal, Peerless.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, a motion and a second to move forward with the Peerless Midwest maintenance proposal at a price of $26,368. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Anyone opposed? All right. Motion carries.
Thank you, Council.
Anything else to add to that, Bryce?
No, sir.
All right. Mr. Wilson, come on up. Didn't have time last meeting to get this done, so we'll get it going now. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Todd Wilson,
I, Todd Wilson,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
and the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and I will faithfully and impartially
discharge my duties
discharge my duties
as gas superintendent
as gas superintendent
of the City of Rensselaer
of the City of Rensselaer
according to law
according to law,
and to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Yep. You want to sign it? You can bring it back to me and I'll get it signed.
Okay.
All right.
I sent out some. I can send it to you.
I've never seen.
All right. Next on our agenda is the introduction to ordinance 02-2025 zoning subdivision and control fee.
This is just an introduction to an ordinance that was, is coming from the Plan Commission, to establish a zoning fee schedule, Plan Commission fee schedule. So Josh, I'll let you take it over from here.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so we've been talking about this at the Plan Commission for quite a while. The last two meetings, I've proposed a couple different schedules to them. I provided you guys with the one they looked at and approved at their January meeting, which kind of showed what we charge now versus what we don't charge. This is something that the zoning ordinance, when it was passed in 2008, called for a separate fee schedule for these things to be adopted, and that just was never done. So we were operating off of the fees that we charged at the previous zoning ordinance. We were provided a spreadsheet from a firm that does planning and zoning ordinances, and they kind of gave you a way to come up with these fees, because when we reviewed other municipalities and counties around us, it was just all over the map on what people charged. No way to determine. What they kind of recommended was to look at the different people involved, whether it be people in the city doing tech reviews, or my office, and then the plan commissioners in general, or BZA members, and try to determine the fees that it would take to cover those costs. The state code allows us to charge these fees in an effort to recoup administrative costs, basically the cost of having those boards and things like that, as most of these things are extra work required for the city to do. The goal in collecting these fees is basically to create a savings fund for developing comprehensive plan again in the future, redoing the zoning and subdivision control ordinances, or any housing studies. As we've seen with the ones we just approved, every study we do seems to cost about $50,000 a pop. So that's what all these fees would be going to create in the non-reverting fund of the Plan Commission to pay for those costs.
Shelby, what did we pay our comprehensive plan? What fund did that get paid out of last time?
To be honest, I have no idea on the top of my head. Is that the one we just,
That, we got a grant for it. We paid $5,000, and then we got a grant for $50,000 to cover it, yeah.
I just have an issue with some of the fees. I think they're just extraordinary. I don't know. I'm on the fence, honestly, on some of them.
Well, we're not voting on it tonight anyway, so.
I think we are, aren't we?
No.
Just the reading of it?
Just to introduce it. Like you, I'm not.
It did seem like a jump, and that's the one concern I've heard a couple of times. We can always look at it. I know we looked at it as a plan commission. I think we had the same thing. some of the meetings that you have, if you're bringing in tech review, you're bringing in every superintendent for the city, so that's why some of those are adjusted like that. So we can, I can sit down with Josh and maybe Kevin, and if you would.
Yeah.
We'll look at it and
Yeah.
maybe bring something back to have you look at it.
And Noel, is there ones in particular that you would like us to, provide further? Or is just,
Do you want me just to, I
I
have a list.
if you can provide that to me, that would be great.
I don't think you want me to say it in public, but I can.
I mean, you can if you want
want me
to.
to, I don't care, it's however you want to do it, but I just have,
Yes.
I'm sorry.
no.
I know you gave us in planning commission a side-by-side of the previous
Yes.
costs.
Which I-
Did you send that to council?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought that was helpful.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that as a community, and I consider us a rural community, even though we're a third-class city, but I just want us to be very mindful of policies, zoning policies and stuff that we put into place, and make sure we're looking forward and down the road. I don't want to hinder growth, and I don't want to put up extra barriers for people as far as fees go, and I realize we have to have fees, I get that. I just want to make sure that we're mindful about that and that we don't put up barriers that would inhibit growth, I guess. As far as residential and commercial and industrial, all of those things.
Well, go ahead.
I appreciate that. One thing, a counterpoint I would say is on the planning commission, there's been sometimes where people really weren't serious, but they kind of came and took up a lot of Josh's time and our time on planning commission, and they really weren't serious about it. You know what I'm saying?
I know we have a process, and it's a great process, and I'm nothing against the planning commission whatsoever. I just want us to make sure we're all simplifying processes. I think is important. Expediting processes, especially with just issues with housing and looking at subdivision development down the road. Anything we can do to help kind of propel that, and I think is a good thing. I just don't want to put up a lot of barriers, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it.
Just for clarification, did you say you're operating off of fees prior to 2008?
Yes, yeah.
And I understand that when I was looking at that 2008 thing, and I can understand going up some. I'm looking at our area more so than anything, and some of the hikes, I just, you need to talk about, because I can't give into that, and I think going with what Noel said, we're hindering growth. We just can't feed people to death coming in here trying to build something. So it's just one of those things where I know this is just an introduction, and that's good, but if we're gonna look at things, you said you looked at Delphi earlier, right? I don't know what would be a good place to look for with all of this. What was the county doing? I don't know how much they charge. So it's all in one that we gotta look at, but, and I understand the other side to that too is that, some of this is your jobs.
Maybe we can ask our friends at AIM to help us kind of find out what cities our size do, and we try that, but we'll get the three of us to meet at some point here in the next couple of weeks and bring something back to the council. All right?
Super, thank you.
Thank you. Next on our agenda is ordinance 03-2025, zone map amendment. Kevin?
This is an amendment to a property that is southeast of town in the buffer zone on 380 West. They just presented at the Plan Commission tonight at 5 o'clock. And basically, well, Josh, I'll let you explain what it is.
Yes, so this is really right at the southeast corner of our jurisdiction in the buffer zone. Most of you would be familiar with the property across the road, would be Donor Solutions on 380 west going south out of
Used to be the
town.
hospital farm.
Yeah. So this is the property we're looking at here is the 3.5 acre parcel just to the west on the west side of the road. Fenwick's own the property. They're looking to further subdivide it, and in order to do that and still conform with the zoning code, it needs to be A2 to get the lot size and the widths to be able to conform to that requirement.
And there was a favorable recommendation by the planning commission.
Yes, yeah, unanimously favorable.
And just for the one lot, right?
Yes, just for one lot, yeah.
Ready for a motion?
Yep.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 03-2025.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second to approve ordinance number 032025, zone amendment. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right. Next is ordinance number 042025, subdivision control ordinance text amendment.
This is another recommendation from a favorable recommendation from the planning commission. And what this ordinance does is it establishes a plat committee to oversee applications for preliminary plats, final plats, amendments, waivers, and simple subdivisions. I'll let Josh go into some more detail on it.
So this has to deal with the same property we just discussed, but the plat committee, the planning commission just said it in advance of it on the condition that you guys approved tonight, but they created a 3-member board to review these more simple and more administrative type subdivisions. We didn't currently have a way for a 2 or 3 lot subdivision to be created without going through all the subdivision rules, which are quite intensive. So a simple subdivision, which is what we're trying to create and do with this plat committee, does not involve the opening of a new public road, and is also forced to conform with all other aspects of the zoning and subdivision control ordinances. So that application would consist of them applying with me, and then from what the planning commission approved, they would meet with we would call the plat committee. They would meet with me, Attorney Sammons, and Scott Martin is our 3rd member on there. We would review and approve. If we approve that simple subdivision, then I would send out notices to everybody in the surrounding area, just like we would for a public hearing. They would have 10 days from the date of the letter to come in and appeal. If they did appeal, then we would bring that before the planning commission. So this just provides a much simpler and quicker path for those applications where it's not a big subdivision or a major subdivision like we all kind of envision in our mind.
So we're streamlining the process.
Yes.
Council, any questions? Attorney Sammons, anything to add?
No, I agree with streamline it. We looked at this a little bit when the issue came to our attention on this last one that should have been a little easier to do, and this will really aid us a lot to get to that end on the simpler subdivision.
Well, thanks to you and Josh for doing the research on this. I appreciate that. Council, what do you want to do?
There's no roads in and out of this subdivision. It's all serves off of 380, I guess.
Yes.
That would be.
I make the motion.
I got a motion to approve ordinance 0420. All right, and then second by Councilman Overton. All those in favor of approving ordinance 042025, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Just say 2025. Next is resolution 2025, transfer of funds. Shelby.
I had a request for a transfer of funds within the Parks Department for a total of $25,000.
Is that for the roof or something? Oh, I make the motion. You need a roof.
Second.
Been a motion and a second to approve resolution 022025, transfer of funds within the Park Department. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Next is a conflict of interest forms.
Annually, council, mayor, and myself are required to fill out conflict of interest forms if we have any. This year we've had 3 submitted for council members, and you just have to approve them in meetings, and then I refile them with the county and North Carolina.
I'll make a motion to approve the 3 submissions from council members.
It's like, I think you might have to.
Been a motion and a second to approve the conflict of interest disclosure statements from the council members. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, it's kind of different than we vote on. But
We abstained on last year.
I abstain.
Abstained as well.
We've got 3 estates.
So
One
does
at a
it,
time?
so how do you
This is my
prove it?
I think it should be done, right? I mean, or do you, should it?
You got 3 that
do one by
submitted.
one?
yeah,
What was that?
there was 3 that submitted.
Or they
They
have
only
to go
do
one
them
by
separately.
one?
I vote on them separately, yeah. And then
Okay,
someone
then someone could abstain. All right,
Okay, the first one I have is Kevin Arnold.
make a motion to accept.
Say again.
all right. Motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And 1 abstention.
Yes.
All right,
The second one's Jeff Rayburn.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
and a motion and a second to approve that for Mr. Rayburn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And 1 abstention.
And the last is Ernest Watson Jr.
I make a motion to approve that.
Second.
Been a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I abstain.
And 1 abstention. All right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that, Mr. Stamos. All right. Next is the 2024 ward map review. I just want to make sure we get this one ready to go, and hopefully we'll get it ready for council next time. Josh?
Yeah, I provided another option here after the last meeting where it was discussed about keeping the north and south sections of 114 heading west in the 2 separate wards. Move things around. This is kind of a little bit bigger differential between the largest and the smallest, the one I proposed before. The one thing I did try to maintain is that everybody still had a connection to the downtown area. But it's really up to you guys if you want to proceed with this or look at it more or what we want to do.
The first option was a lot more equal,
I figure that.
in terms of population wise.
Yeah, the east side of town is,
Lower than that north.
yeah.
What if we take those? What, I just noticed that. What if we took those 2 blocks that were in green, Josh, and moved them into the Ward 4, out of Ward 3?
We could do something like that, yeah. We just got to, like I said, the way I have that drawn is just to try to keep everybody connected to the downtown area. But if there's any number of things there, I mean, one of the options we have is, if we wanted to sit down and maybe pull up the map to where you can actually see the block data that we have to use, we would just need to get together separately and go that and make those minor adjustments and see what everybody's happy with. I'll do whatever you want, so.
Somebody want to sit on a committee to bring this to us the next
I
time?
will.
There's one. I probably should have 2 council people, I would think.
I'm happy to.
All right. So we have Councilman Weiser and Councilman Arnold. We'll sit down with you. We'll draft one and then bring it to the council's first meeting in February.
Okay.
All right. Everybody good with that? All right. So we'll move on from there. Next is a pool house roof quote and down payment request. Heather?
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, council. So I would like to move forward with removal of the existing pool house roof and have a new one installed. I requested 3 quotes and I shared that information with you, and I shared the information related to the quote that I'd like to go with. I'd like to go with Stylecraft. They specialize in this type of project, and I feel like they would be well qualified for any complications that a project such as the pool house might present. They do ask for 20% down payment, so I'm requesting that from you this evening so that I can move forward with this project. They do estimate that they have about a 3-month lead time, so if I can get this moving forward, we should have a new roof in time for the swim season this summer.
And this was the funds that you transferred earlier?
Funds that I transferred earlier, yes.
What kind of shape's the rest of that building in? I mean, I have a pretty good idea. But I'm just, I mean, because if
Pool's there, not the kid.
you do the roof, then there's, I'm sure there's other things coming behind that.
There are other things that need to happen as well.
Date myself.
So as I look at this as a long-term project, we will begin our comprehensive plan for the parks in March, so that takes about a year to complete. And then we have about the next year to start to look at grants that we'd be eligible for. So we're looking at least 2 full seasons with the existing pool and pool house. And then whatever fundraising would need to follow up with that after those first 2 years. So I feel like even though it seems like maybe this pool isn't something we're going to have forever, it is what we have now, and it seems like we need to take care of what we do have, because to just let it sit as it is not going to work. So, and the roof is in dire shape.
I agree, that building's in the spot where we need to put a little money into it, or take a bulldozer out there and
Yeah, that's
put
where
it
we
over.
are.
Can we do it after that, since it's a utility? Or,
You can do up to 50% of down payments.
I'll make a motion to approve the Stoutcraft proposal for the pool house roof
And a down payment.
and the down payment of 20% of $23,700.
Second.
Motion and a second to move forward with the pool roof through Stoutcraft. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, council.
All right. Next is the Appleseed funding request. I got myself on there, but I see several, or a board member here. Would you like to address our council?
Sure. Yes, I do. My name is Anthony Butler. I'm the Executive Director of Appleseed Childhood Education. I have 2 board members with me tonight. Kim Denton is here, and Dave Henninger. You probably know the 2 of them. We're simply coming to you asking to grant our request for funding. Maybe it's already been approved.
The budget's been approved. One of the things that I know the building commissioner and I had talked about with the redevelopment, we were funding those contribution requests through the redevelopment, but we have some plans that are coming up that the redevelopment funding may be tied up in. So what we try to do is put it in as a line item. The council approved the budget, and then the budget was approved by the Department of Local Government Finance. It is a very big contribution, and this is the first time we've ever done anything like this where we try to put it in the line item. But meeting with the developer Thursday, if it wasn't the first thing out of her mouth, it was the second thing out of her mouth. Congratulations. She's very impressed by what you guys have achieved. So we have to understand that it is critical infrastructure to have childcare within our city. So appreciate that, and I wholeheartedly would support that contribution, if the council so decides to move forward.
Which is contribution.
$100,000.
It is a lot, but I do feel like it is something that's necessary for our community. I feel like, I think it goes along with those things that people look at when they're coming here, and like you said, a developer, but people that are, I mean, even the people that are here existing, I mean, we need childcare, and it's a need. It's been a need for a long time. It is fulfilling a need. I think it's an important thing for us to have. Do I want to support it forever? No. I you know, as a city, we can't be in that childcare business, but it is, I think, something we should look at it as contributing these first few years to help it get going. And hopefully it can self-sustain at some point.
And the nice thing of working with Adam in the past, it's nice to see some momentum from our state and federal level that understand in rural communities, childcare is not so simple for us to come up with. I mean, look what we're doing now to try to fund it. So I know we've gotten the attention of Ed Charbonneau, who's one of our state senators. We'll have a get-together on the 5th, where we go down and talk with our legislators about some of these things specifically, like childcare, and finding a funding source to take some of that load off of a local tax government. So, thank you so much for pointing that out.
It's a collaboration, really.
It is.
It is.
It is.
I agree that it's much needed, service in our community, and we need more than just Appleseed, really. I mean, that's probably just the beginning, but I pause with giving $100,000, contributing $100,000 to one single entity. If it's only one time or, I don't know, annual after that, I don't know what we're gonna decide. I agree with Noel that certainly shouldn't be permanent, but I come from, in my professional life, kind of a financial background. I've always been in budgeting and the financial side of our, especially the expense side of our business. So my question is, I mean, what if we donate, contribute $100,000? How will it be spent, and will we get any type of an accounting on how that will be spent?
Sure.
Because I have a hard time with just,
No, I completely understand that. I'm willing to let you see anything that's in our books. I mean, there's nothing there that's, out of the ordinary. It's mostly funding the operations of Apple Tree, our center here in Rensselaer. And that's all, line by line, you could go through and look at that. I'd be happy to sit down with you.
Okay.
Well, then the other thing I look at is, we talk about the one entity.
Mm-hmm.
That's all we got.
Well, I know, but if another one starts
If
up.
another one starts up, then, I can understand us,
Mhm.
maybe splitting in, but right now, that's the one we got. And I think, we put it in as a line budget this year, and for that purpose of Appleseed. So, for this year, and then next year when it comes, we see if we got anything else going on. I think we put it in as a $100,000 line item. I think that's what we should give them. So I make the motion that we give the $100,000 to Appleseed this year, and that's it.
For 2025, just
First 2025.
I'll second that motion.
There's a second, and then we talked briefly about maybe getting some, I don't know how we see where that is going. I guess is my next question. Do you want to come to the next council meeting and explain those things, or what's best for you guys? You want us to try to meet with you personally, one-on-one, or?
Yeah, I think that would be easier, because I don't know that we want to, I don't know that we want to give that much time.
Again, in a meeting, like, we can see about setting stuff up, one-on-one with each of us, or, well, I guess we can't meet as a group, but a couple of us at a time could meet and just talk about everything. And once, like, I've been down there more than once, so I can see what's going on, and then I've probably seen the books more than once too. So it's probably important, though, when the council is the fiscal body, that they see that also. So sorry to add on to that discussion, but we do have a motion, a second. Is there any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Nay.
One nay. Next is a credit card statement. Council, we were presented with the credit card statement. I will just request your permission to sign the credit card statement.
I would make that motion, as mayor signed it.
There's a motion and a second to allow the mayor to sign the credit card statement. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Next is our claims approval.
Make a motion to pay the claims.
We have a motion and a second to approve the claims. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Unfinished business, I don't have any. Council, do we have any unfinished business or committee reports? All right. The one administrative comment that I have is to anticipate the governor's budget requests will be pushed back down to local government. So we must be aware that at some point, for us to continue to receive funding through Community Crossings Grant, they will expect us to pass a wheel tax. I've talked with commissioners, an additional tax is not anything as a mayor that I'd like to move forward on, specifically after we had an increase in our sewer rates, which council was very conscious of. That's a nice way to put it. But I'll go down on February 5th to the legislative session with some people. I just don't know that we're gonna get around that. So I just want to bring it to your attention. And I know our commissioners aren't really interested in doing it either. So this should be interesting, what this budget adjustment will do to cities, towns, and counties. All right. Any other administrative comments, Clerk Treasurer?
I don't have any.
Councilman Watson?
I have nothing.
Councilman Rayburn?
Josh, do we have any updates on the, Cullen and Clark?
I do not have any formal updates. I have reached out to a couple appraisers. That's the next step. The commercial appraisers, we're trying to find a couple to come get those done to make an offer properly on that. The state statute requires us to get 2 appraisers.
Likewise, as Palmer Street's mentioned, anything with Arnett?
I have not heard anything further on that.
Last time I talked with the architect, they were still trying to design something for that. But maybe it's time we make another phone call, because that was 2 months ago. I mean,
I feel like that's gonna be, yeah.
Feel like they're not, keeping their end of the bargain on.
Yeah.
Agreed. I mean, they told me they were gonna be ready and moving on this, and so, thank you.
One thing they've moved on is adding junk to the inside.
I talked directly to the architect, not to the owner, so.
Understood.
All right. Mrs. Weiser?
I did have someone call me when we had the snow asking about our snow removal policies in town, and I did talk to Bryce before the meeting, and he explained all that to me, so I'll relay that information.
Awesome. Kevin?
Nothing.
Russ? No, all right. Next is superintendent's reports. Chief Anderson, you want to start?
I will have nothing this evening, Mayor.
Well, thank you. Heather Smart,
And nothing this evening.
building commissioner.
Thank you, Mayor. Just, first of all, I just want to thank the council, those of you that are on the planning commission, for coming tonight and participating in that meeting and help this go a little smoother tonight. Thank you for your additional time. Then the only other thing I have is just that we have a redevelopment meeting on Monday at 5 o'clock.
February 3rd,
Yes,
5 o'clock?
yes.
All right. Sorry. Chief On.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a reminder, we've got the banquet coming up here, I think in 2 weeks? And then, just to make you aware, we've had some electrical issues at the firehouse. All the trucks have what they call Kuzmal air compressors on those. And, we had some power problems, and every one of those things have fried at about the cost of $1,500 to $1,800 a piece. So, I'm working with Stace to try to get some insurance claims on that, and, I think working with Garrett and Joel and our electrician to try to eliminate this from happening in the future. So currently, as of today, all the trucks are wired back in service, so play it by ear.
Thank you. Any questions for Chief On?
Is that just a temporary fix, I assume? Is that what we're talking about? I mean, the fire truck. I pray it's a permanent fix, because You do. But Could be a permanent fix. It's not cool when you go out there and the batteries are dead and no air and air brakes. Not cool.
All right. Garrett,
Thank you, Mayor. I have nothing for council this evening.
any questions for Garrett? Bryce?
Thank you, Mayor. Last week, we submitted the PER to SRF to seek their approval to use the remaining funds from the water tower project on some lead service line replacement work. And also last week, the water and sewer permits were submitted to IDEM for review for the I-65 extension. And expect some activity on Brick Streets this week as they're starting to get the ball rolling with this nice snap of weather to address a couple additional punch list items that surfaced. And that's all I have.
When's today's meeting?
Oh, we will meet with the county and Commonwealth on Wednesday to review the I-65 plans with still the intent to come to you guys on February 10th to seek approval to go out for bid.
Any questions for Bryce? Heather Hall?
Thank you, Mayor. The mayor and I recently met with architects from the firm Studio RD to look at some possibilities for the future of the light plant. So we're very anxiously anticipating getting some feedback from them very soon. We will be hosting the Chamber of Commerce luncheon at the light plant on February the 12th. And disc golf tourney this weekend, February 1st. It's not too late to sign up.
What's it called? What's the name of it?
Woodchuck Open. Woodchuck it open.
I just wanted to hear you say.
Just in time for Groundhog's Day.
And we want to make sure, council, you are invited to come and have lunch with us there at the chamber. And we'll be making a request for the PR fund use on that. I expect a bigger than normal crowd for that. There are so many possibilities. It's interesting to get someone else's ideas. So please come if you have the time to do so.
And Councilman Rayburn has been assisting with the project. I don't know if you'd like to share anything about where we are currently with the project of the light plant.
Sure. Mechanicals are coming along. The plumbing is all done. The HVAC is mostly done. Todd's crew of the gas department got gas to the building. That's all been piped. Electrician is very close. Drywall is hung in the office ceiling and a little bit on the walls. It's all insulated. So it's moving right along. The 100-pound gas service was terminated today at the building. So it's much safer now.
Good. Thank you. I think they're stealing your thunder.
It's okay.
Todd, you're up
It's all right. Yeah, the meters are outside now. There's nothing more inside. Everything is how it should be. And our new hire will start next Monday.
Looking forward to that. All right. Joe, you're our last superintendent.
Thank you, Mayor. I have nothing this evening.
All right. Any questions for Joe? Stay warm. That was cold even.
It was a cold one the other day, yeah.
All right. Stace, do we have anything?
No, thank you.
All right. Anything else, council? If not,
Make a motion to adjourn.
got a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All right, thank you.